What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with another video. Got those 10 and 20 views. Just saying, I wish I had many followers. I did spam callers. Who calls people in this day and age? You text saying, "Hey, we need to talk," and then let them call you. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Yeah, I know my background's being all funny, and let's see if I can fix that. Filter, dude. Boom, there we go. Problem solving live on the job. But today's video is 10 shocking unscripted WCW from Cultaholic this time. Slightly news. This is the new football background for when I do football related videos. Adam came through. But enough of that stuff, had a kind of angry day at work because apparently coworkers helping means they cover my shift. They don't actually help me. They just do my job when, my scheduled day off. Don't really consider that help. Consider that more or less just, covering when I'm not there. Makes me wonder, will I get in trouble if I don't actually, if I'm on vacation and it doesn't get done, do I get in trouble? Enough of that. Let's get to the video. And don't forget to do the things.
Bolin, do the thing.
What thing?
The thing! I never had to tell Julie what thing.
I'm not Julie, okay? Pretend I don't know anything about anything that's happening here.
Like, if you like this video. Comment. If you want to. Dislike it, but if you dislike it, please tell me why you dislike it. If you seem to like me, thank you. Subscribe. Also, subscribe to them, because it's their actual hard work and effort putting together this thing, and I'm just reacting to it. Okay, go.
World Championship Wrestling, to their credit, knew how to create shocking moments. Lex Luger turning up on the very first Nitro, the debuts of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the reveal of Hulk Hogan as the NWO's third man.
In all honesty, it should have just stayed the three of them. You did not need to add more people.
Etc., etc., etc. All genuinely surprising, legendary moments orchestrated by the WCW Brain Trust. Sometimes, however, WCW talent shocked even the powers that be by going off script and into business for themselves, while at other times simple lapses in concentration resulted in ad-libbed moments of infamy. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10
Hi, Adam.
shocking unscripted WCW
Thank you for saying your last name, because if I saw it on paper, I would like it now.
moments. Join us where the big boys play.
But before we start, this video is sponsored.
No. You do not get to plug your stuff. I have nothing. You don't get nothing. Yes, I know it's just playing in the background behind me, but also, if you haven't seen Ring of Honor's
NordVPN.
Ring of Honor's pay-per-view back, very good. Claudia wins. FTR wins. Good show. Unless you ask Gresham. He wasn't happy about the show.
Doesn't stop there. Nord is a one from viral.
No.
Much more fancy things. Get your money. /Culta. Thank you.
Number 10, Randy Savage slaps Tori Wilson. One of the key traits that defined Randy Savage during his long and illustrious career was intensity. And he certainly hadn't mellowed out by the time it came to his last main event run in the summer of '99.
Steroids do that to you people.
On the July 5th episode of Nitro, a gassed to the gills Macho Man was on the hunt for his girlfriend, Gorgeous George, after Kevin Nash had informed Savage that she was waiting in big...
Look at that jersey. At the Atlanta Thrashers. Atlanta's second failed hockey team. Ironically, both ended up in Western Canada. Okay, there's your question. What are the two teams that left Atlanta for Western Canada? It kind of gave you a big hint.
Big Sexy's dressing room for a little you-know-what. Backstage, a berserk Randy tracked down George, who was talking with Tori Wilson, and proceeded to completely lose the plot. For real. When Tori, who was new to the business at the time, began laughing at Savage's ranting and raving ways, Randy slapped her across the face before ragdolling George out of the room. It was an uncomfortable scene, especially for the members of Turner Broadcasting who were in attendance, since the show was taking place in WCW's home base of Atlanta. Turner's Standards and Practices Department subsequently demanded that Savage be removed from television, and he and George were banned from appearing on the next edition of Thunder.
No, it makes sense. You just don't up and bitch slap somebody. Especially Tori Wilson.
Number 9, Booker T wins the TV title. Title changes are typically planned out carefully in advance, or at least they should be. Obviously,
Unless somebody gets hurt or about they realize, oh, this guy might not come back. But yeah.
plans change and things happen to alter the course, but as a general rule, a championship will only change hands when the script calls for it. That wasn't the case at Super Brawl 1998, when Rick Martel dropped the television title to Booker T. Martel, who had been enjoying a career renaissance since joining WCW not long before, was supposed to retain the gold when he suffered a devastating injury, catching his foot on the ropes while taking a hip toss. He still worked on it for 5 extra minutes, but knew the damage was bad, and so the decision was made for Booker to win the match.
See, that's just smart. Oh, look, I am hurt. I'm going to be out. Let's put this guy over.
Instead, which is all well and good, but the winner of the match was then scheduled to immediately wrestle Perry Saturn in a bout penciled in to go for 15 minutes. Luckily, Big Pez and the Bookman are both pros and had no worries putting together a compelling match on the fly. Number 8.
Yeah, everything I heard about Booker T is, dude, is amazing.
Kevin Nash and DDP lobby for the bad guy. After countless unfortunate incidents and embarrassments, Scott Hall was finally let go by WCW in October of 2000, about 8 months after he'd initially been sent home, with full pay of course. The bad guy being off the road didn't sit too well with his tag partner and best friend Kevin Nash, who by that point seemed to be as mentally checked out as anyone on the roster.
Yeah, because from what I understand, WCW is just like, here's guaranteed money. You know, football players and hockey players don't get guaranteed money, but you do.
Despite there being specific instructions for nobody to mention or reference Hall during broadcasts, Big Sexy continued to say his name in promos and egged fans on to chant for him, even though WCW had no intention of bringing him back. This escalated after Scott had been officially fired, with Nash and his new Insiders tag partner DDP name-dropping Hall about 15 times in a 7-minute sit-down interview with Stevie Ray, which aired on the December 6, 2000 episode of Thunder and is strangely omitted from the WWE Network version of the show.
Yes. Business history. WWE likes that.
Even though it was pre-recorded, WCW aired it anyway because WCW, while being none too happy with the references, which they had to mute. Neither Nash nor DDP were reprimanded for the breach because the inmates were well and truly running the asylum by this point. Number 7.
And that's why they lost to WWE.
Bobby Heenan drops an F-bomb. Brian Pillman's loose cannon persona expertly blurred the lines between fantasy and reality to the point that only a select few really knew what was going on, with many of Pillman's friends even unsure as to what was fact and what was fiction. One person who was not in on it was commentator Bobby Heenan, who became flustered and dropped an F-bomb due to Flying Brian's unscripted antics. The Brain was calling the action as Pillman met Eddie Guerrero at
God, that is an amazing match. Might find it and we'll watch it.
Clash of the Champions 32, when Bryan took a powder and walked around ringside. He then grabbed Heenan, who had no idea what was coming, from behind, causing the Brain to audibly ask Pillman what the you-know-what he was doing. Heenan
Understandable.
began to walk up the aisle, but regained his composure and returned to his position. Turns out Bobby was so upset because he didn't initially realize that it was Pillman grabbing him and thought it was an unruly fan instead. Heenan was actually on WCW's no-touch list due to his age and history of neck injuries, something that the former Hollywood Blonde hadn't been made aware of beforehand.
As long as he only took off his jacket.
Pillman later apologized to the the Brain. Number 6, Dean Malenko forgets the rules. If there is one person you didn't
The man of 1,000 holds.
expect to lose concentration and do something to ruin a match, especially during the later stages of his career, it is Dean Malenko. The Iceman was smooth as silk, and 15 years into his pro wrestling journey.
Malenko's one of those guys. If you put him with a mouthpiece, he probably would have been extremely successful. Great in the ring. Just couldn't talk for the life of him.
Journey when he met Billy Kidman in a catch-as-catch-can match in the opener of Sold Out 2000, the first of 3 Kidman bouts comprising something called Triple Threat Theatre. The rules of the contest were the same as any other, only with the added caveat that if a wrestler left the ring, they would lose the match. Originally allotted about 12 minutes, it only went 2.5 because Malenko momentarily forgot the rules and slid out of the ring to the floor to take a breather. The referee had no choice but to call for the bell,
If you screw up, you gotta run with it. That's all it is.
leading to general confusion. There was speculation that Dean may have deliberately sabotaged the match since he wanted out of the company at the time, but the truth is it was just an unscripted screw-up. As it is, the match was the man of 1,000 holds last in WCW before jumping to WWE.
That sucks.
Number 5, Scott Steiner shoots on Ric Flair. Scott
Oh, go. Scott Steiner saying something inappropriate?
Steiner sure was on one in WCW's dying days, wasn't he? Big Papa Pump was quite simply unmanageable back then, intimidating everyone in sight and doing whatever he wanted whenever he wanted to do it. His escapades often took place backstage, and I use escapades in the trying to forcibly remove DDP's eye sense, but sometimes they did happen in front of the camera. For example, the time he commandeered the microphone on the February 7th, 2000 episode of Nitro with the express purpose of burying Ric Flair and letting the world know
Yeah, 'cause that works. Trying to bury Ric Flair.
what a terrible place WCW was to work. I mean, seriously, the big bad booty daddy just went off on the Nature Boy,
That's a phrase people should not say.
basically blaming him for all of WCW's problems, ripping on him for his age and declining cosmetic appearance, accusing him of conspiring to get Steve Austin fired from the company years
Which is plausible, and the world of professional wrestling thanks you for that.
ago, and on and on and on.
Also, can we just mention, look at that hair on Stone Cold Steve Austin. He looks more like a sociopath here than his Stone Cold gimmick.
Steve Austin fired from the company years ago, and on and on and on. Since Steiner wasn't working a program with Flair and no match between the two was scheduled, this was just Scott shooting straight from the hip and venting. Oh, and the segment also went long, meaning that other things had to be cut from the show. Steiner was suspended at the following Thunder taping. With pay, naturally. Number 4, the Shockmaster debuts. Few moments in the history of wrestling have
Yeah, this could go down as the worst debut ever.
been funnier than the calamitous WCW debut of the Shockmaster. In fact, I would bet WWE's writing team of 50 couldn't come up with anything half as side-splitting hilarious as what Fred Ottman managed to create with a combination of bad luck and clumsiness. Ottman, who had previously portrayed Tugboat and Typhoon in WWE, was being brought into WCW as a top-level babyface to team with Sting, the British Bulldog, and Dustin Rhodes in an upcoming
Also, can we look at Sting and Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes? Wow.
War Games match. His identity was to be revealed during a Flair for the Gold segment on a live Clash of the Champions special a month before the 8-man cage match by him bursting through the wall as pyro went off. Unfortunately for the Shockmaster, somebody had left a piece of lumber lying around and he tripped over it, falling, as Davey Boy Smith so eloquently put it, on his flippin' arse as his helmet fell off. It was, of course, fantastic, the gaff forcing
It was great in the
WCW
worst
to
way.
change the direction of the Shockmaster, turning him from menacing masked Avenger to bumbling klutz. Number 3, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
Yes, because anything with Hogan and WCW.
When the Shockmaster made his legendary debut, Booker T could be heard in the background asking, "Who is this mother effer?" as Ottman scrambled to save his blushes. It wasn't the first or last time that Booker would utter an unscripted comment on a WCW broadcast, though his audible slip at Spring Stampede 1997 would become far more notorious. Booker was cutting a promo alongside his brother and Harlem Heat tag partner Stevie Ray and
I'm shocked Stevie Ray didn't have the same level of success.
sister Sherry Martel when he got a little bit too caught up in the moment and told Hulk Hogan that he was coming for him in a manner that he instantly regretted. You could see it all over Booker's face the moment he said what he said, and though there were no major consequences for it, Booker reflected years later that he felt disappointed in the main because he knew that young children looked up to him and didn't want them to think that using such language was acceptable.
Yeah, like I said, everything I've heard about Booker T is stand-up guy.
In truth, I doubt the Hulkster himself minded since he's a... well, actually, let's not go there just this one time. Number 2.
No. Ads for alcohol.
A major malfunction. There is a very strong argument to be made that any match involving Nitro Girl Tigress, Major Guns, and Paisley should last...
Not bad in the eyes, but I don't think anyone could wrestle.
no longer than 20 seconds, but that wasn't the plan when the three collided in a triple threat match on the August 28th, 2000.
Yeah, I'll give the Tigress chick the only one who may know what anything is, but the other two, no.
Episode of Nitro. Paisley kicked Guns in the back, Tigress hit her with a forearm and then did a bridging pin for the victory. And it was over, just like that. The referee counted 3 even though one of Guns' shoulders wasn't down and it looked like she was trying to kick out. And nobody knew what to do after as the commentators argued over whether it was actually a 3 count and the women continued half-heartedly scrapping before wandering off. Since this was WCW in the summer of 2000, you can be forgiven for wondering whether it was a work, a shoot, a worked shoot, somebody working themselves into a shoot like a jabroni mark, or quite simply, a massive balls up. Considering the reactions of everybody involved, I'm betting the farm on the latter. Number 1, horsing around. And we wrap things up with yet more insanity from the year 2000, with
that WCW jumped the shark.
one of the more memorable scenes from WCW's hardcore division, which was always...
Yeah, I like the broken down, falling apart belt that WWE had.
a pale imitation of WWE's, if we're honest. Terry Funk was defending the hardcore title against Chris Candido on the May 31st
Well, you start off right with words Terry Funk and hardcore.
episode of Thunder when Funk put Candido onto the flatbed of a truck and drove him from the arena to some nearby stables. The two proceeded to brawl amongst the hay and water and, yes, manure before making their way into one of the stables
Why are they wearing the same pants?
itself. After the Funker nailed a pile driver, the horse, likely scared out of its bloody mind, kicked backwards at the wrestlers in what was obviously an unplanned moment. Unless they did call the spot to the horse beforehand, I don't know, I wasn't there when they were laying the match out. In all seriousness, the animal probably would have finished Funk or Candido, or both, off, had Terry not had the foresight to ask the guy running the stable to ace the animal, aka give it a tranquilizer, ahead of time. Still though, if that stallion had bucked 10 inches higher, we may very well have witnessed the first pro wrestling decapitation.
Yeah. I worked at a horse barn in my very short college life. I like mini horses. They're tiny, they're small, big horses. They do what they want. You may think you can get them to do what you want, but no. But that's it. That's all I have. I think I might do another wrestling video. I do, like I said, the football background. Bam. I do have a few football ideas. I realigned the entire NFL solely based off geography. What would I do if I ran the NFL? I have that for all sports. I haven't figured them all out, though. I may do a Haku reference. Or Haku stories, because they are crazy, and I believe the bulk of them. But that's all I have. I am going to start doing GM mode on Sundays, as long as I'm off on Sundays, and then upload them onto YouTube. I did one Sunday, but I can do better. But that's it. That's all I have. If you have anything you want me to check out, let me know. I guess, like I said, the question is, where did the two Atlanta hockey teams go? Who are they now? But I'll see you weird people later.